Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for another episode of Foundation Fest, and today I'm looking at, from Tarte, the Maracuja Tinted Hydrator. Does anyone else get total heart vibes? I just want to be like, ooh, Maracuja! Yeah, retails for $29. You get 1 fluid ounce of product. It's currently getting a 4.3 out of 5 stars with about 20 reviews on Ulta's website. It is a new release at this point. Comes in 20 different shades. I've got the second lightest shade, 13B, which is fair light beige, described as for fair to light skin with pink undertones. They claim juicy skin is in. Ding. Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator is a vegan, ultra-lightweight, hydrating tinted moisturizer that delivers a sheer wash of color while infusing skin with maracuja superfruit and 12-hour hydration. Just apply with your fingertips. Maracuja is passion fruit. It is skincare infused, sheer buildable coverage to even out skin tone and minimize the appearance of imperfections for a smoother, hydrated, healthy look. Ultra lightweight to give a naturally radiant finish that feels and looks like skin, but better. Maracuja oil, hyaluronic acid, vegan collagen, turmeric, and aloe go to work to hydrate, soothe, and help brighten skin's appearance. So there's some aloe flower extract, vegan, 12-hour wear, 12-hour hydration. Let's look at the ingredients and see if we've got any added fragrance. Bunch of fruit extracts. There is silicone in this. I don't see any additional fragrance. Let's take a look at 13B, swatched against a few others in my collection. Swatch time. First up is today's foundation, the Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator in shade 13B, Fair Beige. Second from Kosas, I've got the Tinted Face Oil in shade 2. Third up, I've got from Clarins, the Skin Illusion in shade 102.5. And last, I've got the Estee Lauder Double Wear Water Fresh Nude in shade 1C1 Cool Bone. I've already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened this 45-year-old face. I do like to cover up my sun damage, and I have fine lines. I've got larger pores, texture between my eyebrows. I'm going to skip the primer this time. That's very unusual. I almost never skip primer. But something that's like a tinted moisturizer type of thing, I do want it to be able to sink into my skin and not have a layer of prevention there. So we will go with no primer today. We have plastic packaging, squeezy tube. Let's bust the seal on this guy. I filmed the swatches at the end of the video, so I know you already saw them, but they didn't happen yet. I'm going to apply with fingertips because that is recommended. I do have a damp sponge here just in case it's needed. This feels more silicone-y than a typical moisturizer. And I would say with one pass, I have reactive skin, so when I touch my skin, it gets red. And so my nose is getting red because I'm rubbing it. I don't see that this is going to have any coverage power in terms of canceling redness really at all. My nose just looks like Rudolph right now. I've applied to this half of my face. I'm looking in the monitor and I just don't see much of a difference from one side to the other. Like I'm looking, maybe a little bit of redness cancellation, like I'm a little pinker on this side than on this side. Let's try the other side. I'm gonna try a sponge just for funsies. I need a little bit more product than what I pumped out initially. I think if you like a sponge, you can totally use a sponge with this. It's not sinking into the sponge. I've got a damp Juno microfiber sponge here. Looking at the coverage, there's not really much coverage at all. All I feel like this is doing is adding some dewiness to the skin, which I guess goes along with the whole juicy skin is in thing. But I don't feel like there's really any coverage at all. It's definitely sheer. I had pumped out a little bit more, so I'm just going to try to build a little bit. They called it buildable, so I just want to see if I can tone down the redness on my nose and my sunspots and the redness on my chin a little bit. Let's take a look at this one. There's really not much coverage at all. It's definitely absolutely sheer coverage. So if you're dealing with any redness that you're trying to cover up, this really doesn't go very far in evening out skin tone. It just, I can still see redness where I have redness, which is my chin, my nose. It's minimally covered up. I do think if your skin's in really good shape, this is the kind of thing that is just going to give you a little zhuzh of a dewy look and probably some hydration, I'm assuming, from the ingredients. But overall, I think I can still see all my pores. I can still see all my texture. In fact, I think the dewy finish is kind of accentuating the texture on the more textured side of my face. It is sinking into my nose pores a little bit, so I'm getting sort of polka dot pores on my nose. And the issue I'm having with dry skin, on my upper lip, I have a tiny bit of flaking skin, and it's clinging to the edges of that. And I've got a little bit of dry skin around my nostrils, and it's clinging just a little bit to that. The clinging is not too bad. This would be, I would say, one of the better behaving products with flaking skin. It's not the best. You try something like the Kosas tinted face oil, that stuff is like magic. So this isn't quite as good at handling the flakes as that, but it's also not bad. It's pretty good handling them. I can see them. They're slightly accentuated, but not as bad as it could be. This is staying really tacky, and you might have noticed, we'll see if I edit it out or not, but I've gotten a lot of hairs stuck on my face. Like I had an eyelash that fell and then it was stuck, and then I had a piece of cat hair that was stuck, and just now I had a little fuzzy stuck on my cheek. So it's really, really tacky. I'm going to give it a few minutes. We'll see if it sets down at all. This kind of a product, I would hate to have to set it with powder because it almost defeats the purpose. But in my personal use, I feel like this might be the kind of thing that I put down as almost using it as a primer before a powder, if I'm just going for a quick look. Like, I'm not sure I could wear it if it stays this sticky. It's pretty sticky. So let me give it a few minutes. I'm gonna go put the rest of my face on. Let's check the time. It is 2:26. I'll be right back. Okay, I did end up setting this with just a tiny bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish because it stayed super sticky, but that really took down the nice dewy, juicy look of the overall finish. We'll see if some of that starts to come back through as everything sort of melts together. Sometimes I can, in day-to-day life, I would apply a setting spray to kind of melt it all together for reviews. I try not to do that unless we're in a disaster situation, because I just want to see how it ends up performing on its own. But overall, I think everything's okay. I just feel like my nose looks red, and I haven't touched my nose now in quite some time because I did my eye makeup and everything. So just redness comes through, and that might not be enough coverage for me on a day-to-day basis. I don't have a lot to cover up. I totally understand that. You know, I get a lot of comments that, oh, your skin's beautiful, you don't need to even wear foundation. It's like, I want to hide my sunspots and my freckles. I was teased mercilessly as a kid. It is something that is in my psyche. I don't want to see them. And as I've gotten older and sun damage has started coming through, wear your sunscreen every day, people. You could have prevented all this, Shelly. If I could go back and tell myself 30 years ago. But anyway, but I do get blotchy and red, and I really want to cover that up. So if this isn't even covering that, we'll see. Otherwise, everything seems to be going okay. On the rest of my face, I use the Natasha Denona Bloom palette. Just a tiny bit of bronzer around the perimeter. I went in with a little zhuzh of my Natasha Denona Super Glow, even though there's highlight in this that I'm also wearing. But this is more of like a peachy gold toned highlight, and I need a little more brightness than that. So I went in with a little bit of this as well. My eyes are the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. I love the squishy packaging, like the squishy top to it. I will say though, I love Urban Decay eyeshadows generally, but I tried 4 different shimmers in this, and 3 of them were really, really stiff. Like, I had to apply with fingers, and I couldn't even get a lot off on my fingers, and that was oddly disappointing. I think everything turned out okay, but, they're masters of color curation. That's something Urban Decay's always been good at, but the quality of these shadows just isn't. The matte's beautiful, just like normal Urban Decay, but the shimmers, I was kind of bummed. I bought this half price when Ulta had it on sale with their 21 Days of Beauty, and I would not recommend paying full price for it. Otherwise, my mascara is the Tarte Big Ego. My lip is the Natasha Denona Lipophoria. These are limited edition. This is the shade Mauve. And Tarte Creaseless Concealer. Figured it's kind of a Tarte day, so I'd use some Tarte stuff. I think that's everything. I'll be back in a bit with a daylight check-in, and I will come back tonight and we'll wrap up and see how this one wore. Hey guys, it is just past 7 o'clock, so about 5 hours in. Just got out of all of my work video conferencing meetings. Here is a look at the Tarte. My nose is kind of a hot mess. See if it'll focus. I just have some polka dot pores going on, that kind of thing. Otherwise, I think everything has held up pretty well. Color match, I think, is fine. Maybe it's more my summer shade, I would say. But maybe a smidge dark for winter, but it's okay for now. Blush bronzer highlight looks like it has stayed intact. The one thing, setting it with powder definitely took away all of the dewy sheen. None of that seems to have come back. The finish is just like satin matte now. But I don't think I could have survived with it staying as sticky as it was. So I feel like I had to set it with powder, and this powder is one of the most beautiful powders I have. So yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I got a new little chair seating thing that I'm sitting in at the moment, and just chilling out in the yard. Yeah. So that's where we're at 5 hours in. I'll be back tonight and we'll wrap this one up. 10:30 p.m. That puts us right around the 8.5-hour mark. Let's take a look at how the Tarte Maracuja Hydrator tinted. What is it called? I don't know. 10:30 p.m. Let's take a look at how the Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator held up. Why am I doing this check-in at 8.5 hours? Is it A, because I dropped scrambled egg all over my shirt? B, because I just sneezed 12 times and really need to blow my nose? Or C, all of the above? Thankfully, you can't see where I dropped all the scrambled egg on my shirt. So let's talk comfort. This is very, very, very comfortable, super lightweight, feels like nothing, and it is definitely hydrating. My skin feels really good right now. In terms of wear, let's zoom in. Pretty much the same situation as earlier, but my nose has gotten a little bit worse. And even though I did sneeze a dozen times, I really have not been touching my nose. So I've got a little bit of polka dot pores, and I've got very patchy redness coming through on my nose. Every place else, the breakdown is, it's just kind of disappearing. My blush bronzer highlight are still intact, so the wear away is very graceful every place else. It's just fading away, not really causing any trouble. Throughout the day, I have had to wipe it from my deepest chin line a few times, so what's there is not the full day's worth of what gathered there. So if you have deeper wrinkles, I feel like you might have problems with it settling into them. It did not settle into my fine lines like my forehead or my smile lines, but deeper lines might be a problem. Overall, it's been very nice to wear. I wish it looked better on my nose. I wish it just had a tiny, tiny bit more coverage to even out redness, because I think that's something a lot of people deal with. In terms of dry skin, bravo. I think it's fantastic. In terms of maturing skin, fine lines, I think you're okay. Texture, it's not going to do you any favors. Like I just feel like I can see the texture on my skin, and I'm a little bit nervous because I see what looks like might be sort of breakout bumps happening, and the only new product that I'm wearing on my face is this. So I'm hoping that's not a problem. I'm hoping I wash it away and I wake up tomorrow and everything's fine. I will definitely update you guys if this breaks me out, because I do not break out easily. I don't have very sensitive skin. My skin tolerates a lot that I throw at it, and it does so pretty willingly. Or maybe not willingly, but cooperatively anyway. So I will keep you posted if that ends up being a breakout caused by this, because I haven't worn makeup for the past like 3 or 4 days, and I haven't done anything different with my skincare. Like, there's literally nothing else except this on my face that is different. So if I had to give a grade to the Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator, we're going to assume it didn't break me out, and I'm going to go solid B. I wish it had enough coverage to just even out redness just a little bit. I wish it did just a little bit more smoothing in terms of pores and texture. But really, if you're looking for just a very light coverage wash, the other thing, I do wish you didn't have to set it with powder. I wish it wasn't so sticky. But I'm going to go B on this one, because there are just a few things that it needs to perform better on me for me to call it an excellent product. It's definitely above average. It's a solid B. That's what we're going to go with this one. There you have it, another Foundation Fest episode in the books. If you enjoy foundation reviews, if you liked this one, give me a thumbs up down below. Let me know in the comments what foundations you would like to see next. I am constantly buying them and keeping up with all of the new releases. They're starting to slow down a little bit, so it's okay. I can catch up now. Let me know what you want to see next. I always read the comments. As always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for new videos. Stay well, stay safe, stay home, and take care of each other. Bye-bye.